The Quiet Ones. Chapter 5. The Impossible MRI. Danny. Emily's voice came from upstairs again. Who are you talking to? Daniel stood motionless at the bottom of the staircase. The photograph lay on the floor behind him. The house was silent. Then he heard footsteps. 1, 2, 3. Emily appeared at the top of the stairs. Her hair was loose around her shoulders. She wore the blue robe Daniel had bought her for Christmas 3 years earlier. She looked tired. Human. Perfectly human. Are you all right? Daniel stared at her. Did you just ask me who I was talking to? She frowned. Yes. I wasn't talking. Emily looked confused. You said my name. Daniel's mouth went dry. No. I heard you. I didn't say it. She stared down at him. Neither moved. Then Emily smiled. It was a tiny smile, almost imperceptible. But Daniel saw something wrong with it. It reached her mouth, not her eyes. He had seen that smile before, on the screen in the conference room. 8 people staring directly at the camera, smiling together. Maybe you're tired, Emily said. Daniel nodded. Maybe. She turned away. Come to bed. He watched her disappear down the hallway. Then he looked at the photograph again. The words on the back remained. He was never first. Daniel picked it up. The handwriting was unmistakably his. But beneath the words, nearly invisible beneath the ink, was another mark. 3 interlocking circles. Project Orchid. At 4:17 a.m., Daniel made a decision. He wasn't going back to sleep. He wasn't going to work. And he wasn't going to tell Emily what he had found. Instead, he called Dr. Evelyn Shaw. She answered on the 4th ring. Daniel. How did you know it was me? You called my private number. I didn't give you that. No. A pause. How did you get it? I found it. Another silence. Then Shaw said, Where are you? Home. Leave. Daniel looked toward the bedroom. Why? Because if you found my number, they know you found it. Who? She didn't answer. Doctor. Daniel listened carefully. Her voice had changed. Do not use your work phone. Do not use your personal computer. Don't drive your normal route to work. Why? Because there are people inside your building who aren't what they appear to be. Daniel swallowed. I already know. No. Shaw's voice became very quiet. You don't. The laboratory beneath level 8 was colder than Daniel remembered. Shaw met him at the elevator. She wasn't wearing a lab coat. She wore dark clothing and carried a small metal case. You came alone? Yes. Did anyone follow you? I don't think so. That's not the same answer. Daniel looked at her. I don't know. Shaw nodded. Good. Good. At least you're learning. The elevator descended. Neither spoke. When the doors opened, Daniel noticed something he hadn't seen before. The walls were covered in scratches. Hundreds of them. Some looked like letters. Some looked like mathematical symbols. Others were simply lines. Long vertical grooves. Repeated again and again. What happened here? Shaw glanced at them. People. What people? The ones who didn't want to stay inside. She led him through a series of security doors. The laboratory was larger than Daniel had realized. Much larger. Rooms stretched beneath the building. Glass chambers. Medical equipment. Cold storage. Server banks. Observation rooms. Some contained nothing. Others contained things Daniel wished he hadn't seen. A human hand preserved inside a glass cylinder. A section of bone with branching structures growing through it. A translucent membrane suspended in formaldehyde. a black substance moving slowly inside a sealed container. Daniel stopped. What is that? Shaw didn't look. Don't touch the glass. Why? It recognizes electrical activity. Daniel stared at the container. The black substance shifted. Not randomly. Turned toward him. Shaw noticed. Her face tightened. Keep walking. They reached a room marked medical imaging, authorized personnel only. Shaw locked the door behind them. You asked me what happens to people. Daniel nodded. You're about to see. She activated a computer. An MRI appeared on the screen. A human brain. Normal. Patient. Anonymous. Age. 43. Government employee? Yes. Daniel watched the scan rotate. Everything appeared normal. Then Shaw overlaid another image. The differences were subtle. Tiny dark threads appeared between sections of neural tissue. What am I looking at? We initially thought they were blood vessels. Initially? Then we thought they were scar tissue. And we were wrong. She magnified the image. The threads were branching. Not randomly. They formed repeating geometric patterns. Almost mathematical. Daniel leaned closer. Those aren't vessels. No. What are they? We don't know. She opened another scan. Same structures. Different patient. Another. Same. Another. Same. Daniel's stomach tightened. How many? 114 confirmed. And all government employees? Shaw hesitated. No. Daniel looked at her. How many civilians? We don't know. Shaw opened a different file. This one contained a sequence of brain scans taken over 12 months. Month 1. Almost normal. Month 3. A few dark strands. Month 6. More. Month 9. The structures had spread throughout the brain. Month 12. Daniel stared. The brain looked almost completely dark. Not dead. Something else. The tissue had reorganized. The normal architecture was disappearing. What happened to the patient? Shaw didn't answer. Doctor. He walked out of the hospital. Daniel turned toward her. Walked out. Perfectly healthy. And he went home. Then what? Shaw looked at the floor. He killed his wife. Daniel's expression hardened. Why? He said she wasn't his wife. Was she? Shaw looked at him. Yes. Daniel felt cold. What happened to him? We found him 3 days later. Where? At an airport. Trying to flee? No. He was standing in the terminal. Doing what? Watching people. Shaw closed the file. He told us something. Daniel waited. He said humans were difficult to imitate. Imitate. He said we were noisy. Daniel frowned. How? Thoughts, memories, emotional contradictions. Shaw looked directly at him. According to him, the thing inside his brain wasn't learning how to control him. She paused. It was learning how to be him. Daniel remembered Collins. The mug. The photographs. The empty office. The voice beneath level 8. Why Collins? Shaw looked away. He discovered the imaging. That's it. No. What else? He found something else. What? Shaw hesitated. Then she opened another file. A photograph appeared. Nathan Collins. Standing beside a frozen lake. Daniel recognized the location. It was the same place shown in the 1963 photographs. Antarctica. Collins went there? Yes. When? Last year. Daniel stared. Why? He received an assignment. From who? That's the problem. Shaw enlarged the photograph. Behind Collins stood another person. A scientist. Daniel recognized her. That's you. Shaw nodded. I wasn't there. Daniel looked at her. What? I never went to Antarctica. But you're in the photograph. Shaw stared at the screen. For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she whispered, That's impossible. Daniel felt the room suddenly become smaller. How? Shaw leaned closer. The photograph showed Collins smiling. Beside him stood Shaw. But the longer Daniel looked at her face, the more uncomfortable he became. There was something wrong. Not obvious. Something tiny. Her eyes were slightly misaligned. Her smile was too symmetrical. And in the background, behind the two of them, stood a third figure. Tall, thin, almost invisible against the snow. Daniel magnified the image. The figure had no face. Only a dark oval where its head should have been. Shaw whispered, Turn it off. Daniel didn't. The screen flickered. For a fraction of a second, the figure moved. Not forward. Toward the camera. Daniel jumped back. Shaw slammed the monitor off. Neither spoke. Then the laboratory lights flickered. Once. Twice. A low vibration passed through the floor. Daniel felt it in his teeth. What was that? Shaw's eyes were fixed on the ceiling. Nothing. The vibration came again. Stronger. Something moved inside the walls. Daniel heard a faint sound. A wet scraping. Then another. Something was traveling through the ventilation system. Shaw grabbed the metal case. We're leaving. Now? Now. They reached the door. It wouldn't open. Shaw entered her security code. Red. She tried again. Red. Daniel looked at the screen. A message appeared. Continuity error. Shaw went pale. What does that mean? She didn't answer. The ventilation grate above them rattled. Daniel looked up. The screws began turning. Slowly. One. Then another. Then another. Shaw pulled her weapon. Back away. The grate dropped. Something dark moved behind it. Daniel couldn't see what it was. Only fingers. Long fingers. Too many. They curled around the edge of the opening. Shaw raised her weapon. Don't. The fingers stopped. Then slowly withdrew. Silence. The door clicked. Unlocked. Shaw grabbed Daniel's arm. Run. They sprinted down the corridor. Behind them, something began moving through the vents. Fast. Not crawling. Running. The sound followed them. Metal bending. Walls shaking. A series of sharp impacts traveling through the ceiling. They reached the elevator. Shaw hit the button. Nothing. Daniel turned. At the end of the hallway stood a person. A man. Wearing a gray government uniform. Daniel recognized him. He worked in security. The man smiled. Dr. Shaw. She froze. Don't come closer. The guard tilted his head. I need you to return to the laboratory. Why? Your examination is incomplete. Daniel looked at Shaw. Examination. She didn't answer. The guard took one step forward. Then another. His movements were normal. Too normal. Every step landed at exactly the same distance. Perfect rhythm. His face remained expressionless. Then Daniel noticed his eyes. He wasn't looking at Shaw. He was looking at Daniel. "I know you remember Collins," the guard said. Daniel's heart stopped. The elevator doors opened behind them. Shaw shoved Daniel inside. The doors began closing. The guard smiled. Not widely. Not grotesquely. Just enough. "Tell Emily we said hello." The doors shut. Daniel stared at Shaw. She looked terrified. Not because the guard had threatened them. Because of what he had said. "How does he know my wife?" Shaw didn't answer. Daniel grabbed her arm. "How does he know Emily?" Shaw finally looked at him. And for the first time since he'd met her, Daniel saw genuine fear in her eyes. "Because," she whispered, "Emily isn't the person we're supposed to be worried about." The elevator began rising. Daniel waited. "What are we worried about?" Shaw looked at the floor. "The person Emily remembers being." The elevator continued upward. And somewhere beneath them, deep inside level 8, something began knocking against the elevator shaft. 3 slow knocks. Pause. 3 more. Pause. 3 more. Daniel closed his eyes. He recognized the pattern. It was the same rhythm Nathan Collins used to knock on his office door every morning. 3 knocks. Always 3. Only now, something beneath the building was answering. Chapter 6. Emily comes home different. The knocking stopped before the elevator reached the surface. Daniel kept his eyes closed. 3 knocks. Nothing. 3 more. Nothing. Then silence. He opened his eyes. Dr. Evelyn Shaw was staring at him. "You heard it." It wasn't a question. Daniel nodded. 3 knocks. She looked away. "Collins used to do that. Every morning." "No." Daniel frowned. Shaw's voice dropped. Before Collins disappeared, he stopped knocking. Daniel remembered. Tiny detail. Something he'd never considered important. Nathan Collins had knocked 3 times every morning. For years. Then, sometime during the last month before his disappearance, he stopped. Daniel had assumed Collins was simply trying not to disturb anyone. Now he wasn't so sure. When did he stop? 28 days before he vanished. Daniel looked at her. "How do you know?" Shaw didn't answer. The elevator doors opened. They stepped into the 7th floor. The normal world waited for them. People walked past carrying coffee. Phones rang. Someone laughed near the elevators. Nobody seemed to notice the 2 of them. Shaw touched Daniel's shoulder. "Go home." "Why?" "Because you need to find out something." "What?" She looked toward the security cameras. "Whether Emily still remembers you." Daniel didn't ask what she meant. He was afraid of the answer. He drove home using 3 different routes. He parked 2 blocks away. Walked. Stopped. Waited. Watched. Nothing followed. No black vehicles. No government agents. No strange figures standing beneath streetlights. His neighborhood looked peaceful. Almost painfully so. A child rode a bicycle across the street. A man watered his lawn. A woman collected her newspaper. Normal life. Daniel hated it. Normality had become suspicious. Emily was in the kitchen, cooking. Again. The smell of garlic filled the house. "You're home early." Daniel closed the door. "Yeah." She smiled. "Everything okay?" He stared at her. She looked exactly the same. Brown hair. Green eyes. Small scar above her left eyebrow from a childhood accident. A wedding ring. His wife. His Emily. He forced himself to smile. "Everything's fine." She turned back toward the stove. "Good." Daniel put his coat down. "Emily?" "Yeah." "What did we do on our first date?" She laughed. What kind of question is that? Just answer. She turned around. We went to the movies. Which movie? She paused. Daniel noticed. It was less than a second, but it was there. That old science fiction movie. Which one? She smiled. I can't remember. Daniel felt something inside him tighten. She remembered. She always remembered. It had been a joke between them for years. Their first date was at a tiny theater in Alexandria. They'd watched a terrible alien invasion movie. Emily had hated it. Daniel had loved it. Afterward, she told him she would never date him again. They'd been married 23 years. She had never forgotten the movie. Are you okay? She asked. Daniel nodded. Yeah. That night, he waited until Emily fell asleep. Then he went downstairs. He opened a drawer and removed an old cassette recorder. Analog. No internet. No wireless signal. He pressed record. My name is Daniel Mercer. He paused. Today is Monday. He looked toward the stairs. Emily is asleep upstairs. He swallowed. I don't know if she's my wife. He hated saying it. But he needed a record. Something that couldn't be rewritten. I remember Nathan Collins. He stopped. The tape continued spinning. Daniel whispered, if I don't remember saying this tomorrow, then something happened. He turned off the recorder. Then he heard footsteps. Upstairs. Slow. Bare feet against hardwood. Daniel froze. The footsteps stopped above him. Emily? No answer. He waited. Then, Danny. Her voice. Soft. Sleepy. Normal. Yeah. Come upstairs. Daniel looked at the recorder. The tape was still running. He picked it up. Why? Silence. Then Emily answered. I want to show you something. Daniel climbed the stairs. Emily stood in the hallway. Her face was expressionless. What's wrong? She pointed toward the bedroom. Daniel entered. The room looked normal, until he saw the wall. Photographs covered it. Hundreds. Family photographs. Daniel and Emily. Their wedding. Vacations. Birthdays. Christmas. Their daughter as a child. Their first house. Their first car. Their entire marriage. All arranged chronologically. Daniel stared. Where did these come from? Emily stood behind him. You took them. I know. No. She smiled. You took them before. Daniel turned. What does that mean? Emily didn't answer. Daniel walked closer to the photographs. Something was wrong. In every picture, Emily was looking at him, not smiling, not laughing, looking. Even in photographs where she should have been facing someone else, her eyes were always directed toward Daniel. Always. He touched one. Who put these here? Emily's voice came from behind him. You did. Daniel turned. She wasn't there. The bedroom door was open. The hallway was empty. Emily? No answer. He stepped into the hallway. Emily? Nothing. Then he heard her voice from downstairs. Danny. He ran. She stood in the kitchen, holding the cassette recorder. Daniel stopped. Where did you get that? You left it downstairs. No. She looked at it. Did you? Daniel stared. Give it to me. Emily handed it over. The tape was still running. Daniel pressed stop. Then rewind. He played it. His own voice filled the kitchen. My name is Daniel Mercer. Emily listened. Then her expression changed. What? Daniel watched her. You don't remember? She shook her head. No. He pressed play. I remember Nathan Collins. Emily's face went pale. The tape continued. If I don't remember saying this tomorrow, then something happened. Emily whispered. Danny. Daniel stopped the tape. What? She looked frightened. I remember. Remember what? She looked toward the hallway. Collins. Daniel's heart hammered. What do you remember? Emily closed her eyes. He came to our house. When? Last year. Daniel stared. What did he want? She opened her eyes. He told me not to let you know. Daniel felt cold. Know what? Emily's breathing became unsteady. He said you were being watched. By who? She shook her head. I don't know. You do. No. You remember. I remember him. Then tell me. Emily backed away. He wasn't alone. Daniel went still. Who was with him? She looked directly at him and whispered. You. The kitchen lights went out. Daniel heard the refrigerator stop. Then the house became completely silent. Emily grabbed his arm. Danny. What? Don't move. He heard something outside. Car door closing. Then another. Then another. Daniel looked through the window. 3 black vehicles had stopped outside. No headlights. No markings. Men stepped out. Dark clothing. They stood motionless beneath the streetlights. Emily whispered. They found us. Daniel grabbed her hand. We're leaving. She didn't move. Emily. She looked at him. I can't. Why? Her eyes filled with tears. Because I'm not sure I'm supposed to. Daniel's heart sank. What does that mean? Emily looked toward the hallway, then toward the ceiling, then back at him. Sometimes I wake up. She swallowed. And I don't know where I am. Daniel said nothing. Sometimes I remember things that haven't happened. She began crying. And sometimes. Her voice broke. I remember being somewhere else. Where? She shook her head. I don't know. Outside, a car door opened. Footsteps approached the house. Daniel looked toward the front door, then back at Emily. Are you still my wife? She stared at him for several seconds. Then she whispered, I don't know. The front door handle moved. Slowly. Once. Twice. Then stopped. A voice came through the door. Daniel Mercer. He recognized it. Agent Marcus Hale. Open the door. Daniel didn't move. Hale spoke again. We're here to protect you. Emily grabbed Daniel's hand. Her fingers were ice cold. Then, from somewhere inside the walls, 3 knocks. Daniel looked at her. Emily stared back. Neither spoke. 3 more knocks. This time Emily smiled. Not the smile Daniel had feared. Something smaller. Something sad. She whispered. It's been trying to get in for 23 years. Daniel felt his blood run cold. What has? Emily looked toward the wall. Whatever replaced me. The knocking stopped. For several seconds there was silence. Then something knocked from inside the bedroom. 3 times. Then the hallway. 3 times. Then beneath the kitchen floor. 3 times. Daniel slowly realized what was happening. The knocking wasn't coming from one place. It was coming from everywhere. The house was answering. And outside, Agent Hale shouted, Daniel! His voice was suddenly terrified. Get away from her! Daniel turned. Emily was standing directly behind him. Her eyes were completely black. She smiled and spoke in a voice that wasn't hers. Too late.